Hey everyone, Joel here from Life in Nica. Thanks for checking out this video. We've been getting a lot of questions on what life is like here in Nicaragua with real estate, COVID, and like the general situation in the country. So I figured it's time for a new update. So, this one will go over all those interrelated topics. If you're watching on YouTube, the links to everything I'm talking about are going to be in the companion article below, so you can check those out there. So there's a bunch of good resources that link back over to the website, which is lifeinnica.com. And if you enjoy this video, feel free to hit that like button, and we really appreciate it. So I'll start out with COVID because it's really affecting all the other aspects of things here, like it is all over the world, right? And so here in the country, to enter Nicaragua right now, all you need is a clean PCR test within 72 hours of arrival in the country. And once you're here, there's no lockdowns, there's no quarantines, and life is pretty much normal. So you need to wear a mask if you're in like a chain store or something, but in general in San Juan Del Sur here, the restaurants are open and you can come and go as you want, and mask use is pretty minimal. And life has been pretty normal since about 2021. So, some people are wondering, like, vaccine mandates, almost impossible to imagine. The government doesn't seem to have the interest or the ability in order to enforce them. Even childhood vaccines are optional but not mandatory, so I can't imagine that they would start with these ones. So mask requirements are much less common in the small towns. They're more common in the cities like Managua, but you're probably not going to be spending that much time up there, so not that big of a deal. My opinion is that you should be able to do what you want with your body, right? So if you want the shot, I think you should get it. And if you don't want the shot, I don't think you should have to. So, I believe in that freedom. And here you can do that. Here in Nicaragua, you have the option, right? So I will say with that freedom comes more responsibility. They go hand in hand, right? So if you are in a high-risk group, if you are, ill or elderly, it might be better to stay home. This might not be the place for you. We are a developing country, and there are some good hospitals, but if you're sick, it might be best to stay where you're at. On that subject, locals politely ask that you respect those who choose to be vaccinated. It's just about respect for other people's decisions as well. That those choices and those freedoms go both ways. So, and then in that same vein of believing in freedom, they also ask that foreigners accept private businesses that request masks, right? Like it's their store. So just like no shoes, no shirt, no service. And one of the reasons here is that, some of the store owners are elderly and they still work in the front end of their store. So that's a factor. But you can choose who you patronize, right? So I had asymptomatic COVID, and I still choose to put on a mask if I enter a store that requests it, right? So, and then if you want cheap delivery from some of these places, there's a company called Delivery Mobile that will do all your shopping for you and deliver it right here. I actually use it just because I don't like to shop. So, for $5 or $10, I'd prefer to have it delivered to my house. So, and you can get anything that, all the shopping that I describe in the article on, shopping in San Juan, all that stuff you can get delivered here to your home. So, for me personally, the mask that I wear 10 minutes a day doesn't bother me too much. If it makes the 80-year-old lady in the store happy that I have it on, even though I had asymptomatic COVID, so be it. And then, bars and restaurants have been open, and free since, middle of last year. Gyms are open. Overall things have been pretty good. So that leads into the property market, and there's a number of interrelated factors there. And obviously, those freedoms have brought a lot of people down here, as well as the ability to work remotely, right? So there's a ton of people now that can work from their computer wherever they want all over the world, right? And here in Nicaragua, with a low cost of living and being able to be potentially a non-tax resident in your home country, there are enormous savings that you can generate. So between those and the aforementioned freedom and life being normal, it's been a big draw down here, especially for people buying property here in the country. And a lot of the sellers have been Airbnb previous owners, so they used to rent them out on Airbnb, and obviously that income is down. And now that they're selling out, the people that are buying are all moving down here. So that includes people like like remote workers, tech entrepreneurs, cryptocurrency people, retirees, they're all coming down here. And I've also actually got an article on my other site, The Central Investor, on why I think more people should consider it, especially at an early age, in order to keep more of your hard-earned money, right? And for that, I have resources on setting up corporations in Panama and how you can do that and limit your taxes in a legal way. So yeah, those tax savings combined with the low cost of living mean you get to keep a lot more of your hard-earned money. In addition, being in a place like this, you can hire help for things that aren't necessarily your high-value activities, right? Like, for example, we have a maid that helps and cooks and cleans for us, and it allows me to do more work. And then, we pay her a significantly above average wage, so she's super happy. I'm more productive. Everything's better, and I really think that one of the long-term trends of this town is all these people moving here are going to be hiring, more people, and that's going to help. And I think that's going to help stabilize the previously seasonal nature of the economy, right? So, and just in that regard, I would recommend paying like at least slightly above average, or well above average. The small difference to you in hiring somebody can be life-changing for a local. So, yeah, quality of life here is great if you have a first world income. And then as a corollary, to that, the single family homes here have been extremely strong. Like I said, owners of vacation properties have been selling those out. Buyers have been moving in. And then they've been, becoming part of the community. So my thought is that when tourism does return, at least at the higher end of the spectrum, there's going to be less volume in the short-term rental market, and I think, I do think Airbnb rental rates will rebound. So, in terms of buyers, it's been a fairly even mix of couples, families, individuals, and retirees. And the first two, often those have one or two of those partners where they work online, right? Talking about these things where you can take, digital nomad, bring the money down here, pay minimal taxes. It makes a lot of sense. And then with those, for the ones with kids, the school, which I've got an article on, has been a big draw as well, right? It's a phenomenal school staffed by mostly Canadian American teachers, and it's a huge draw. It's great. So, in terms of single-family homes, not as many left on the market. A lot of them been sold, and then now when they do pop up, they tend to sell quicker. It's just my my basic analytics, but it seems like a home used to sit on the market for sort of 3 to 6 months before. Maybe it's now 2 to 3. And prices are still fairly stable, but new listings are coming on the market with slightly higher listing prices. So that does tend to lead to the idea that the prices will be going up. And part of that is that there's increased capital available to first world people, Canadians and Americans, where housing prices have exploded, right? They've got a lot more equity. They can sell their home for more. As central banks continue to print money, that money has to go somewhere. And then for people that want to pull that equity or buy down here, that's going to have a knock-on effect. So, as long as that continues to happen, I would expect, a similar thing for down here. We're not going to have the 30% jumps or whatever jumps in your major markets that you see elsewhere because we don't have the leverage, right? People can't borrow and speculate. But I would expect a, slow, steady increase in prices and values. And another reason is that, basic materials have increased by about 25% this year. So if you're building, comparing to that, like at some point, those have to level out if the cost of building is going up. So commercial properties are still cheap, rental rates are still low, so there's some good deals out there. And I imagine it'll be 6 to 12 months before we start to see a real raise in that short-term rental market. And then, so my conclusions, I think my sales here will stay brisk and values will likely increase, barring a change in the aforementioned factors. It seems almost certain, right? Prices will slowly start to tick up as the supply to demand ratio continues to tilt towards the latter, right? At the moment, existing properties are still less expensive than building something similar. So if you can find something you like, better to buy it than build. However, if you can't find the property you want, or you want a dream home and you want something constructed, in which case I can connect you with the best builders out there. So that allows you to get what you want if we can't find something on the market. So and building lots are still at a discount on a historical basis. So that's sort of the overview of the market and my predictions for going forward. probably common sense given what I've just explained. You know, I think short-term tourism will still stay down for a little while, maybe 6 months that year, right? But I believe that long-term the trends for San Juan del Sur are actually excellent, right? So you've got all these higher income individuals, especially by local standards, coming in, right? And it's just capital inflows. They're not taking any jobs. Money's coming into the community, you know, and that stabilizes the seasonal nature of the economy, right? Hires more people, you know, and just generally improves the town. Like I think we're gonna go away from that backpacker image. You know, I imagine the backpackers will come back, but it's not just going to be them, right? You're going to have families, you're going to have friends of the people moving here. You know, as things go slightly up market, you're going to get, you know, improvements in those services, and I think that's great, especially because I don't think that's going to change our vibe. I don't think we're going to turn into a Tamarindo in Costa Rica. You know, people here tend to be fun, funky, interesting, adventurous. You know, we don't have a McDonald's, we don't have a Starbucks. We're not going to attract those type of people. So, you know, I think we will stay cool, and I think the town will improve. So a little bit more, you know, to go through for the short term for tourism, but I think long term the prospects for town are excellent. I think a lot more people will move here, and I think that is excellent for the whole thing. So, you know, overall, I'm extremely optimistic, and you know, especially as sales continue, it seems to trend towards that hypothesis. So yeah, I'm excited. So thanks for watching the video. I hope this was helpful. Like I said, the article and everything that goes with this is down below. You can check it out. And any other questions, you know, you're looking for property here in Nicaragua, check me out. Thanks for watching. Bye.